we find that these prayers were designed to invoke spiritual, healing, and powerful forces of the conscious universe.
What I mean by that is that during the night time, the night priesthood, including the female, they come, and also that I'm talking about the priesthood of the universe. They only come and show themselves instantaneously, is what that passage means when you're doing our prayers. When we communicate them with directly, that is a prayer that they use. The language of the Zuni is a very unique language in that there is no other Indian tribe that has any connection with the Zuni language. The Zuni is a standalone language system as determined by the people that study the languages and trying to connect it with other Indian tribes, say like the Hopi or the existing Pueblo tribes around Albuquerque, New Mexico, and even clear down to the Azteco Inca tribes. And the ethnologists and the linguists have never found any connection to any of the Zuni language, so it's a standalone system by itself as far as the language is concerned.
Do all ancient dialects go back to the same source, the sounds of nature and the sounds of the universe itself?
Well, Pleiades, what took me some time to understand is that in the prayer system, they talk about all the different directions. Not only is it the internal part of the earth, the different directions, the 6 directions of the earth, boundaries, the up and down, the east and west, and north and south, and so on. And in the when they start talking, giving prayer to those people that are in the upper world, it starts out with what the Zunis refer to as the rock roof, and they're referred to as priests or gods. The rock roof. Then the next one is the moon and the sun, the Big Dipper, and as it goes up, then it talks about the 7. The 7 took me a long time to figure out that was referring to Pleiades. Pleiades having got 7 star group or whatever it is, and then above that is the supernova. The supernova group, and depending on the specific functions of the medicine order society, then again it expands into other star systems, and also certain parts of certain stars stars or planets in the universe, depending on what their specific order is or their medicine group is. And those are kept pretty well secret among those societies. In Zuni, even though the medicine orders are the same, the specific groups have their own references, and sometimes we don't know what the other society references are. But in the case of Pleiades, it's very specific.
That's incredible. So you're saying the elders could talk to gods or goddesses from different star systems?
Yes.
The ancient Hebrew name of God is the name that cannot be uttered or heard by the human ear because it has no vowels to move air through it. The name literally cannot be uttered or heard by the human ear unless vowels are introduced to it. The phonetics of the letters YH, WH produce a sound so low in frequency it cannot be heard. The sound of the sun was considered by most ancient religions as the most sacred sound of the universe. It is a sound that cannot be heard by the human ear, because the human ear only hears between 20 and 20,000 hertz. The sound of the sun is much lower in frequency and also much higher in frequency than we can hear. Could the sound of the sun be part of the universal language system? NASA has recorded the actual sound of the sun in deep space and compressed the inaudible waves so that human ears can hear it. If we listen to the sound, we can hear and feel a deep vibration. The sound of the sun recorded by NASA is precisely as the ancient Hindus had described it in the Vedas thousands of years ago. It is a mantra that can be intoned with human speech as Om. In the 6th century BC, Pythagoras also heard the sound of the sun and described it as a deep resonant hum with higher frequencies blended into it. How did the ancient Hindus know this mantra if it could not be heard by the human ear? Could they have actually peered into the universal consciousness and perceived it? As human language and the language of nature cannot travel faster than the speed of sound as a sound wave, language as information can travel at the speed of light and beyond by entangling itself on more subtle energies. In the same way that we can send human voices or music on radio waves at the speed of light, we can send our own dialogue, personal energy signature, and information through our own biophoton light emissions at the speed of light. While the speed of light is useful to communicate within the solar system, it cannot take us far beyond it in any reasonable amount of time. In this way, biophoton emissions are limited, while more subtle bioenergies are not. Dr. Tiller's discovery of the psychic force as subtle energies emanating from the human body of consciousness demonstrates how our personal information can travel on subtle energy frequencies at the speed of light squared, cubed, and beyond.
Okay, in my modeling, which I developed from a deep meditative state in the early 1970s, the model that eventually appeared to me, which I wrote down in my first psychoenergetic book, which I didn't publish for about 30 years, that was in 1997, and that was Science and Human Transformation, Subtle Energies, Intentionality, and Consciousness. So in that, I draw a Minkowski diagram with the standard cone kind of thing, but there are several cones where the events occur inside the normal light cone of Minkowski is the coordinates of distance and time. The limitation of the walls on the cone is velocity of light, c. The next one, the limits, which is the magnetic information wave domain, is c squared. The next one, which is the emotion domain, is c cubed. And the next one, at the mind domain, c to the fourth. And beyond that, spirit. So, again, until you can make measurements, we will not be able to check these kinds of things. But they're internally self-consistent with a variety of stuff. And they give us a lot of hope and optimism that if we will ever get out of this box that orthodox science is stuck in, then they will have a marvelous, marvelous adventure in learning more about nature.
Is the power of meditation so profound that we can expand our consciousness into the cosmos and perceive the actual sound of the sun and the universe.
One of the fascinating things about psychic phenomena is that they seem to travel much faster than light. And a piece of evidence to back that up, and there are actually now several experiments, but the first one that I learned about was by a Russian scientist named Podshibian, probably back in the 60s, I believe. He was working with acupuncture and measuring the voltages on the acupoints on the body.